he's the one who has gone to the OSPs with a complaint against the BoG boss. He's joining us on the line. Honorable, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Good evening, Morrisanda.
So you failed in your appeal to him to resign. You failed in your appeal for his appointers to intervene. You failed on the streets to boot him out. What new evidence are you providing to the OSP, and what do you want the OSP to do to the BoG boss?
Good evening to our listeners. You should understand that the Bank of Ghana issue has different dimensions and facets. There is the administrative failure or the policy failure of the governor that has resulted in high inflation, unstable exchange rates, huge interest rates, the challenges that the financial sector is facing, his failure to hold the line, which has led to finance minister overborrowing and then, leading us out of the international financial markets, and then, overborrowing that has led to finally the implementation of the domestic debt exchange program. So that's one policy failure aspect of his job. And so the call on him to resign was based on that broad policy failure. There's a second aspect of it, which is the procurement of the head of his building. That has two also dimensions. One has to do with the fact that he decided to spend such a colossal sum of money at a time when we are facing serious financial crisis to procure office space. But then there's a specific aspect of it which relates to the pricing of the project. And that has to do with the fact that he initially proposed to procure a 73,000 square meter working space at $100 million. And then it ended up being, awarded on contract at $121 million. And then subsequently, he said he varied the size from 73,000 square meters to about 107,000 square meters, which was a 36% variation. And then we saw a price escalation of $121.8 million, moving to $222.9 million, which was about 84%, variation of the price, when the scope of work variation was just 36%. So that raised an issue of how can that be explained. So we wrote a letter to him to explain to us, and then he refused to explain, and then decided to give us national security reasons as the reason why he will not give us details of the variation in scope, which has led to the variation in the price that I have just indicated. Now that aspect, raises questions of, the likelihood of corruption and the commission of a corruption-related offense, which in a procurement matter, which is a matter that the Office of Special Prosecutor has jurisdiction in. And so we are dealing with that, through the Office of Special Prosecutor. But the other issues, trust me, we haven't abandoned them. We'll get back to them.
So it means that your demand for his resignation is continuing unabated, but this is to deal with...
We continue to demand his resignation because he has failed the country as a central bank governor.
I see. Now, this particular case, you are simply saying that there are issues that relate to corruption, and you suspect that the BoG governor himself is involved, or he sat and watched for this corruption to be committed, this act of corruption to be committed. Are you accusing him specifically, or someone committed that crime but he did not stop that person?
The structure of the BoG is such that the governor is also the chairman of the board. And in that dual position of being the procurement entity head and at the same time being the governance, director, which is the board chairperson, with his two deputies being part of it, he definitely is involved in the decisions relating to the procurement, the decision relating to the decision to request for variation of the price and scope of works and etc. So there's no way that he cannot be seem to be part of the entire process. So yes, I am definite that he is involved in whatever has happened here and his deputies. And in any case, I wrote to him, and he is the one who told me that he cannot explain on grounds of national security. And I just can't understand on earth what about national security is involved in the construction of a head office building, apart from maybe the construction and design of the vote. What else is there in terms of the procurement of the building that you cannot explain, given your own decision to vary the scope and then subsequently your decision to increase the price of the project? So I came to a conclusion, and my colleagues and I came to a conclusion that, well, if we get to the Office of Special Prosecutor, he probably has the powers to compel him to produce the evidence and then analyze it. And we'll see if our suspicion that some corruption or corruption-related offense has been committed in the procurement is true or not.
Very well. Thank you so much. We'll end it here. But before we go, you are from the Upper East region. One of your neighboring constituencies, two of them actually, Garu and Timpani, had military men deploy into the community on the dawn of Sunday, and we are told brutality is meted out to the people. I'm sure as a member of parliament from the region, you'll be concerned about what happened there, even though you are not necessarily their MP. What's your comment to what happened there?
Well, I've been involved in that matter. The matter has a history. It started with some persons who were assigned on some operation by national security in that area, were identified by the youth and approached, and their presence there questioned. The matter was referred to the police station. Many young people were agitated and came over. And then ultimately, I was involved in trying to ascertain from the Minister for National Security whether indeed those persons were staff from his outfit. He did confirm to me that they were staff from his outfit. I called some of the youth and relayed the message to them that those people are actually, personnel from the National Security outfit on an operation. Subsequently, I'm told that, or there's an allegation, I can't verify this, but there's an allegation that, some people fired in the direction of the vehicle of the National Security personnel. I read a statement of the National Security outfit, which, creates the impression that the security personnel were in the vehicle and the youth, shot at the vehicle with the personnel on board. I don't think that is what happened. The vehicle was parked at the police station, and there were actually a lot of young people standing at the police station, and some people from a distance fired in that direction. So those are the facts. And a few days later, 2 or 3 days later, I received reports around 3 a.m. in the morning. I think that was the day of the incident that you are talking about. And I called the National Security Minister to ask his commanders to get the military personnel to stop what they were doing in Garu. He was in Europe and promised to get in touch. Subsequently, they stopped the operation, and then they took out some people to Bolga. As we speak, they have flown some of the young people who were arrested to Accra, and we are desperately trying to get their location so that we can intervene and get their release. But what the military personnel did is indeed, unacceptable. Yes, it is true that some youth, did what I will not encourage, but you cannot go and then attack an entire community and beat every single human being that you come across in the community and subject them to the level of treatment that we have seen the military do. And so we as parliamentarians were actually going to raise the matter in Parliament and call for an inquiry into it as happened in Wa some time ago, and then demand that, there should be some, punishment for those who are involved in that kind of conduct. The Speaker has deferred the statement to tomorrow morning. We just adjourned proceedings today. So tomorrow the MPs will be making a statement on the floor, and we'll call for an inquiry into exactly what happened. I will demand that the military high command, take remedial measures.
Okay, you've mentioned Wa is one of the places we saw the brazen attack on civilians by military men. We've seen what has happened in Garu and Timpani this weekend, and we've also seen what happened in Ashaiman. You are a lawyer. You're also a lawmaker. Is there some legal routes or possible new legal routes that can be developed to prevent these things from happening so that the soldiers remain in the barracks and are not unleashed on the civilian population?
Well, I mean, in this case, it is not even a matter that directly relates to soldiers. For instance, the men who were traveling through Garu were not wearing military uniform. If they were soldiers wearing military uniform and standing anywhere in Garu, I don't think any young person in Garu will even attempt to question why they were physically in Garu. Because there are policemen wearing police uniforms in Garu, and no one has ever questioned why they are physically there. The youth definitely understand these institutions, and they will give respect to personnel from these institutions. In this instance, the Land Cruiser in which they were driving was seen parked at an obscure place. It had no number plate, and it was covered in dust. And so the youth approached them to find out who they were, because the same national security has been preaching that, if you see something, say something. So they saw something and they wanted to say something. And so they approached them and asked them, who are you? Why are you parked here? Why are you in a Land Cruiser? Why is the Land Cruiser not numbered? And then they told them that they were national security personnel. The boys said, no, we don't believe they are national security personnel because, the way where you are located and etc. So can we go to the police station? And then they went with them to the police station. And at the police station, they searched the vehicles because the youth demanded that they wanted the vehicle searched. When they searched the vehicles, they found that, there were some, weapons there, some automatic rifles, some pistols, some ammo, bulletproof jackets. And so the youth became suspicious. But what are you doing here? You say you're national security operatives. What exactly are you doing here with that level of armament? So that was what sparked, the behavior that subsequently I myself complained about, which is, the young people shooting at the vehicle. I'm not justifying that, and I will never justify that. But the point is that the youth didn't go out there to attack soldiers. So it is unreasonable and unfair for soldiers to just go out there and then, rampage and attack everybody in the communities. And in any case, the incident happened in Garu. So what is the basis for going to a community that is far away from Garu, such as Bogri, or a district that is completely different from Garu, which is the Timpani district, and then attack every household there that they came across in the middle of the night, woke them up, beat them up, made them to drink dirty water from the gutters, and etc. There's really no basis. If the young people in Garu had seen people wearing military uniform and had attacked them, I would never defend them. So I think that the military must begin to understand that they should be careful about their own operational rules. Boku, Garu, Pusga, we all know that there are security issues in that area. Therefore, if any member of the security agencies is moving into that zone, there must be protocols. You should be in your uniform so that from afar, the young people can identify and know that this is a soldier, this is a policeman, this is an immigration officer, this is a fire service officer. So let me give the state its due and respect. But in this instance, they were not uniformed. They were in a dusty Land Cruiser. It wasn't numbered. And then they said they were on an operation, and the young people didn't know what operation was happening in Garu, that you come and be parked here in an obscure corner. So let's also
but it doesn't mean you should attack the persons, even if you don't.
I'm not justifying that.
Okay.
I've never justified that.
That's fine.
But I'm saying that the military as an institution has no basis for deciding to go and then carry out a mass attack on the entire community because one of their own or two or three of their own were attacked. Because they must understand that these people were not wearing military uniform for the people to easily identify that these were soldiers and then to go and attack them. I don't think that anybody in Boku would just use soldiers and go and attack them, or even in Garu or any of that area. So that's my argument. And so if you are talking about the general behavior in Ashama, in Wa, and in Garu now, we must have a clear understanding with the military that if a soldier goes to a place and then he's not uniformed and he's attacked, don't treat it as an attack on the institution. That would be unfair and that would be wrong.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us. That's Honorable Muhammad Ayariga. He's MP for Boko Central. We were speaking